If you want an inspirational or motivational boost to your leadership or management, then this is the episode for you. Today I speak to a really incredible woman called Tasneem Bhamji, who is a business strategist in the financial sector. Now, Taz has had to work really hard, like many of us, to get to where she is, but her journey has been an experience of difficulty, loneliness at times, but also drive and determination. And on the back end of that, Taz is now a voice for many of us in leadership of how do we deal with those hard parts? How do we navigate the loneliness or the sometimes discriminations we might feel? And in this conversation, what I really get from Taz is this energy and this excitement to lead holistically in an integrated way, but also do business as usual. Obviously, being in the financial sector, she's got KPIs and targets coming out of everywhere, left, right, and center. But how do you do that in a heavily regulated space and be top of your game whilst bringing people with you and considering the conversations that aren't happening that need to happen? So if you want a boost for your leadership, check this out. Well, Taz, it is such a pleasure to have you on the pod today. How are you doing and where are you?
I'm really, really good. I am just in central London, working away today, but really good to catch up with you.
Oh, brilliant. Now, listen, I want to go straight away, hit the ground running. How on earth, I'm intrigued to know the answer to this. How on earth have you gone from being a female, Muslim, Indian heritage, journalism degree to being in banking and strategy as your career? How has that happened?
Oh, when you say it like that, I want to say by accident, but it wasn't. Like, I made a lot of choices along the way. So look, I just happened to be working in a bank while I was graduating and was good at it. And there was an opportunity for a full-time job that I just couldn't turn down because of the security.
Yeah.
Whereas journalism wasn't as secure and it paid less. At the time, it was probably about £6,000 less for an entry-level journalism job versus being a call center manager. And I was like, that's game-changing money. I'll work here for a bit, do the manager thing in the call center, and something will turn up in journalism. I kind of stopped looking because I fell in love with what I was doing. And I really did love it. I was just like leading and coaching teams and trying to be the top team.
So what did that entail? Being a manager of a call center, what did that entail?
So I had a team of part-time people. So they would work after uni and weekends, and sometimes like a lot of moms. So, people older than me. I was 24 at the time. And basically coaching them, looking at MI with them, data, how to build empathy, having good conversations. It was all around kind of financial difficulties and stuff like that. So I think I was just good at it. Good at it. And I loved spending time with the team, and I loved having the best team.
Did that, I mean, I'm making huge assumptions now, so I won't. You tell me, what did your degree in journalism embed within you that enabled you to be effective at that?
Do you know what? I make a joke all the time when I've written like a really good email or I've written a good paper or like an exec document. I'm like, there's me putting that journalism degree to use finally, making that student loan back that I paid off.
Finally, there's a reason for it.
Otherwise, how do I quantify it? Do you know what? Honestly, I don't think a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot.
So explain what you do now. What is your job now?
Yeah, so I look after like the digital channels for a major UK bank. I basically think about how we use digital channels like apps to get customers in, engaging and providing an amazing service for them, whether that looks at how they engage, with technology, different technologies, buy products, engage with their money, their finances, and having a strategy that helps us win in market. Wow. So it's not just about use the app, it's about having a market leading app, and that's what I do.
So you've got this very high powered strategic day job that you're passionate about, and then you've got this other initiative called Out of Office Real Talk. Have I got it right?
Office Real Talk. Yeah,
sorry, Office Real Talk.
Yeah.
What's that about, and what's it got to do with the day job?
So I think, you called out earlier, I'm Indian heritage, a Muslim, I'm a woman, I've come from, like what you would call like socially deprived background, right? I was raised on free school meals with single mom. And when I look around, there's still not lots of people that look like me. There's a lot of Asian men around. There's very little Black people, men or women, and Asian women, there's still kind of less of. And there's, in some occasions, there's not even a lot of women. And as I've grown up through my career without anybody having given me a playbook, I've just found it really hard at times and lonely, and really questioned myself, my worth. Am I good enough? Not felt like I could ask for a lot of support, actually, a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my friends and people around me weren't working in the same kind of environments. They're not in corporate, A lot of my friends were having kids, actually, as I was working my way up and stuff like that. I couldn't ask at home. Nobody got it, right? Nobody comes from corporate. And as I've gone through my career, I've had, God, thousands of career chats, talked to so many people. And because there's not that much representation around, they look at me and they see me and they're like, let's go and talk to Taz. She looks like me. Or she's a woman. Or she talks about these things that other people aren't talking about. Or she's not posh. Or she doesn't play golf. Or she doesn't mean skiing. Or blah, 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 blah. And I think through those experiences, I just sat there one day and said, what if I could tell people things that no one told me? What if I could help people with things that nobody helped me with? What about all the things I found so hard and it felt so lonely to navigate that I wish someone had told me? What if everybody doesn't have to do it the hard way? And what if by imparting some of that knowledge and sharing those stories, I can help create confidence in people? So there are more people at more senior levels or in successful positions, whatever success looks like to you, that come from those underrepresented communities that I'm talking about. So, it's not a page for everyone.
No.
It's a page for women. It's a page for people from minorities. It's a page for people who grew up, without very little and are trying to navigate this world. It's a page for people who need to be told to get out of their own way. And it is true Taz style, tough love, very to the point. I'm not an influencer, right? I'm never going to be one, but I am absolutely going to tell you the truth about why you are staying stuck and where you are, and what I would do if I was you.
You've actually already impacted me. From one post on LinkedIn, there was a podcast and you've screenshot the conversation and it's about, she's a career woman. And your interview is like, we never say a career man.
We don't.
And I really resonated with that because I've been a stay-at-home mum for 15 years and then I got a job and it was a side hustle to start with, but now it's a career. And so now I have been coined with, you've got a big career, you're now a career woman. And it's really interesting because I've been in both camps fully. So I now provide financially for 4 children. But 5 years ago, I was a full-time stay-at-home vicar's wife. And it's weird that I don't really fit in the stay-at-home mum camp anymore, but I also don't really feel like I'm a career woman. And it was so impactful to just go, wow, this is a rhetoric that's not, I'm not on the bandwagon of like, men have it easy at all. But I'm raising 3 white men, young men, so I'm very sensitive to that space too. But it was really impactful to just hear that articulated. We don't know what we don't articulate, right?
Yeah, and my husband's got, he's very successful as well. And he's got a great job. Nobody ever says to him he's a career man. They don't.
No, it's interesting, isn't it?
But there's something about being a woman that comes with labels. And I think actually women put labels on other women so much more sometimes than men do. I can think of so many scenarios as I've navigated the last few years with my friends and family of, how you choose to raise a child as a mum, how you feed them, when you decide to go back to work, whether you choose to have children, whether you choose to, settle down and get married and all of those things. There's so much judgment in that space. And I think sometimes those labels make us just feel so nervous about how we show up in society.
Yeah.
I want to do it on my terms, whatever I do. And I don't want anyone to go, she's this, and she's this. Just by entering a room, someone will go, well, she's a woman, she's brown. And they're the things you can see. She's short. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever those things are. And I think those labels can sometimes be so debilitating because they make you feel like you can't win.
You can't win. I know it's being grouped in a category that you have no voice in, it's you're misrepresented as a human, aren't you? And
100%.
there's truth in it, but by contrast, I enter a room and I'm white and I'm posh and I'm tall, and that immediately does an inverted snobbery, on
Yeah.
that space, and it's
There's a joke about me and you walking into a room somewhere together, I'm
hilarious,
sure.
little and large, all of that. I know I'm 6 foot, Taz.
Yeah, there you go.
So what I'd love to know is what things in your journey, you've touched on some of it, having certain labels, but what are the things that you have found most challenging that you want to help other people not experience to the same level?
I think it's the things that people expect you to know, is the first one that you should just know. And it's not your soft skills, it's your hard skills, actually. It's the things that people think, surely they know what that means. And maybe I'm just old. Maybe in this age of information, everybody knows what those things are. How you're taught to write and use PowerPoint when you were at school is so different to writing your first exec presentation. And I remember having to do my first exec presentation as a head of when I worked, in one of the banks I've worked at. And I remember just finding it so hard. I felt like I didn't know how. And no one was coaching me.
No.
Everyone was just like, here's a presentation. This is the date it's due. 1 page, lots of data. And I remember I was 3 days into the job at that bank and I was going, oh my God,
Wow.
I'm going to write this. So that's one hard skill, how to effectively chair a meeting. And by that, I don't mean facilitate a meeting, but I mean like chair a meeting, really, really have a good conversation around it.
Yeah. How did you learn?
I just started doing it by watching other people. You learn from others, right? And I think what that means is you pick up the good and the bad, and then you kind of find your own style.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely doesn't mean that I didn't feel out of place at times. It definitely doesn't mean that I didn't feel like this was really hard.
Yeah.
And it felt like everybody else was able to do this naturally, like someone had taught them. But I didn't watch my mom on conference calls. I didn't see anybody working from home late at night writing PowerPoint slides.
Yeah.
How would I know? I think, how to do public speaking. Oh God, I am now a very confident and I think good public speaker. I remember the first time I did some public speaking to a very small audience. I remember the most senior person in the room saying, you just aren't good at this, are you?
Wow.
I know. And I just went red. I was like, oh,
Wow. Because
no.
actually what they were saying is, well, you've had no experience of this before. There's a skill gap. I wonder what your
Correct.
potential could be.
Yeah.
That's actually what we want them to have said.
100% coach me in that moment. So those hard skills, things that you need to get really good at.
Yeah.
I say to my team all the time, if we do some critical thinking around this,
Yeah.
don't just tell me what we're going to do. Like, I love an execution mindset. I love getting shit done.
Yeah.
Tell me how we've got here. What are the options? What have we considered? All of those things around how to think through problem solving, those hard skills. So that's the first, and that's a big group of things, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think the second thing for me is how you navigate your career.
Oh, say more.
God, and this has been a labor of love, and it's not something I'm perfect at no matter what I say.
Yeah.
It's knowing how to show up. It's how to take feedback. It's how to give feedback. It's how to go for those jobs. It's self-advocacy. It's being able to talk about yourself. It's being able to have a personal brand. It's how to have a good digital presence around LinkedIn. It's how to write an effective CV. It's how you use an interview to your benefit to figure out how you feel about working in that organization. It's all of those things. It's how you carry yourself. And I don't mean how you dress or, what shoes you wear that day. It's your presence. It's all of those things around what people say about you, what they don't say about you, and how much of that has anything to do with you.
Right.
It's how much of your emotional worth sits in your job and your career, and how much of it you learn to just accept as, there are things I will change and I will be coachable. And there are things that are fundamentally who I am that come with this package. It's knowing when to leave. It's knowing when to go for it. It's finding sponsors. It's stakeholder management and how you show up in a way where people will say that you're great to work with, you're easy to work with. It's all of those things that are so important in navigating your career. But I think there is still, and I think less so now because of the internet and I think TikTok and all of those kind of things, but there's just such a thing around be good at your job and that's enough. And it's just not. It's the bare minimum. Like, you've got to be good at what you do, right? That's the entry ticket.
Yeah.
But then after that, there's a whole thing that needs to come around that you have to nail. And it's stuff no one teaches you.
So the stuff around your job is the skill set, like having, am I good at the skill? So am I good at strategy? Do I understand the skill?
Can I deliver on my goals and my performance? And the way I do it, right? It's not just the what, it's the how.
Yeah. But sometimes we don't have some of the skills, like you said, with PowerPoint, etc. You just don't know. I remember my first PowerPoint I haven't touched a computer PowerPoint since 12. I had to get my 13-year-old son at the time to help me.
Yeah.
So basic. So yeah, there are things we don't know skill-wise that we can skill up in. But what I'm hearing is part of our career navigation is actually quite a lot of soft skills. And so why is that important for career development? What's that got to do with business?
I think you can have all the hard skills in the world. And I say this to my leadership team a lot. You can be a leader, but do you have followership? Because I can give you the title of a leader, it doesn't make you a leader. You can lead people. I always think to myself, if we were in a really difficult situation, would my team look at me and go, yes, I want Taz at the front leading the way?
Wow.
Yes. I always think that. I've got that analogy, right? It's almost like gladiator-esque or like 300. I've got them. I'm going to lead them to safety. I'm going to lead them to winning. But actually, great followership is they want to do it with me. We're all in that line together. It's not one person at the front. Followership is people going, I believe in this. I believe in the vision because I believe in them. It's not blind faith. It's togetherness. I think also those soft skills are because, it's the oldest sales technique in the world. People buy from people. I meet people in interviews. I'm like, I want to work with you. Yeah. I want to talk to you. I want to learn from you. I need you on my team. You bring something great. And actually in an interview, yes, there's hard skills. I always get someone to do a task, right? I give them a really hard strategic question and I want to see how their brain works. We start with that. So it's equal footing for everybody. There's no bias. Everyone's had the same task in the same time, right? And then I talk to them about what makes them tick. Tell me about yourself. Not your career history. Tell me about you.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
And that's different for everybody, right? And I love peeling the onion there. But actually, if I walk out of that conversation with you and I'm like, I want that person on my team, or I'm intrigued, that's better than someone having all of the academia, all of the skills. And I'm going, do you know what? I think they can definitely do the job. Will they be a great fit with the team? Will they work with me? And then I think also people need to look at you and go, they are an asset. Being easy to work with is the most underrated skill you can ever have.
It's so significant, isn't it? What makes someone easy to work with, in your opinion?
It's not being agreeable, by the way. I was literally talking to someone this morning and they were like, oh, how could I show up differently and give me feedback? I'm like, hey, do not lose your edge.
Yeah.
You don't have to compromise your beliefs and you don't have to lose your edge. I've got edge. I'm direct. I'm assertive. God, I don't think any men are called that. I've been called direct every day of my career. Yes, I am. Yeah. I am. I say what it is, but that also means I wear my heart on my sleeve, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think being easy to work with means you follow up, you follow through, you're transparent, you are able to talk about things and have disagreement, disagree and commit.
Yeah.
The opposite of being easy to work with is I disagree with you here. We commit to that disagreement and I walk out of this meeting room or I walk out of this session and I completely say and do something else.
Yeah.
Follow up, follow through, disagree and commit, like be in the room. I had a boss who once wrote something down, which I love. Disagree, but don't be disagreeable.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, it stuck with me, right? Like it has stuck with me that he said that and I just love it. Don't be someone that absolutely won't listen. Listen. Yeah. Listen, get views, ask questions, lean in with curiosity. Commit to fixing things that are broken. Don't always assume it's someone else's fault. There's so many times where I have conflict at work. Of course, it comes with senior jobs. But does that mean the relationships are bad? No. Do I bank on the relationship to get us through that? Yes.
Yeah.
Where I have relationships, everything can be salvaged, and I invest in them. To be easy to work with, you cannot just invest in relationships when you need people. You have to nurture them. And I'm not saying go and buy everybody a coffee every month. God, I don't have time for that. My diary won't allow it. Neither will theirs.
Yeah.
But it does mean like, hey, you okay? Like, what's going on? I need this favor from you. Can we pick up the phone? When they've got something, I react like that. When I've got something, they also react like that. Life is about give and take. Work is exactly the same. And if you never give and you just want to take on your agenda, you're not easy to work with. There's no value exchange.
Do you know, it's funny because I have this big understanding that people are people, the narrative's different, so we're talking about business and this is the context, but everything you've just said, follow up, follow through, disagree, but don't be disagreeable. These are real pearls of wisdom for just doing relationship, whether you're in a volunteer space, whether you're a parent, whether you're in a marriage, whether you're a leader of a big business, they're just kind of human skills.
How to have good relationships, right?
Right. Well, it's like the I don't know if you know Patrick Lencioni.
We love
Lencioni. He's so great. Anyone listening, you should check out his stuff. But he has his pyramid, doesn't he, of the 5 dysfunctions of a team, and you're really touching on that. The core part being this trust. To then be able to have conflict and challenge, but through that to then still be able to commit and be accountable to get results. Why do you feel that, I can hear your passion talking about this and I share it too. For people listening who are, oh, that's nice, but I'm quite busy just getting loads of work done. Why is this relevant? Why is it important for business?
The fact that people don't think this is work or part of the job, like that's what I think people need to unlearn. Doing the task is not the job, because you will limit yourself to thinking like this. To be expansive, to really make things successful, to deliver on measures, to be in that world where you're thinking about the future, to be almost ahead, you would have to absolutely build on how you work with others. There are people that I know who are absolutely brilliant strategists, brilliant critical thinking, brilliant commercials, whatever. Can they lead people? No. Have I seen that they're good at building relationships? No. Are they impactful in rooms? No. Have I seen them manage conflict? No. Have I ever seen them disagree with anyone? No. Would I promote them? No. I need to know that you are dynamic in how you show up and how you come across. The topic, obviously there's got to be a foundational level skill if you're one of my direct reports, etc. I can coach you. I back myself to get you there based on the fact that you would need to know something. But I've hired people who don't have all the skills needed to do a job, because why not? But I back myself to coach them to get there. How they show up is so important.
But then, playing devil's advocate, then you've got to have the faff of finding the time to build them up. And where I hear many leaders in spaces not dissimilar to yours is, I don't have time. So how do you, because it's quite exceptional to walk the talk of this stuff, how, busy woman running strategic approaches, lots of meetings, I'm sure your life is full of them, and then you've got to add in that. How do you do it?
Look, I'm not saying I've hired people who've got absolutely no clue about things, but I would absolutely, and we have hired people who don't come from banking into banking.
Wow.
They don't know how the regulations work. They don't know how to navigate a bank. That's cool. Because are they expansive in their thinking? Yes. Are they critical thinkers? Yes. Will they lean in with curiosity? Yes. Do they care about what we do for customers? Yes. Do they care about technology and the progression of AI? Yes. The rest will come. Look, if I think that coaching only happens when I put in time blocks, that's a misconception as a leader.
Brilliant.
Every moment and interaction you have with someone is a coaching moment. And I remember that is my first call center job where I was told that. And I remember my boss saying, you do not have to be next to someone listening to calls to know if they're good. Even if you hear what they say, even if you're walking around the floor, even if you emulate behaviors, you are coaching them.
Wow.
I dedicate a lot of time to one-to-ones, right, with my direct reports. We talk about a bunch of stuff. I do these things called sync sessions. They can bring who they want, and we sync up on big topics. We've agreed our goals. I have an open door policy, and I know I say that, but I really do. In fact, I get feedback the other way from my PA saying sometimes I'm too approachable.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, yeah, of course. But coaching doesn't just happen because you think I now need to give you some coaching. It's in how you give feedback. It's how you write back on an email. It's how you say, can we just think about these things? Have we thought about including this data? In all of those moments where I'm giving feedback and I'm challenging and I'm asking questions, I would then reflect on that with the person and go, can you see why I asked you to do that? Today, I literally sat down with someone and I asked them to reword something. She was like, I'm stuck on how to word this. And I was like, could we say this? And she was like, yeah, I like that. I was like, what about this? And then we came up with it together. That was a coaching moment because she had a firm statement that she believed in.
Yeah.
I was like, we might need to soften that because of blah, blah, blah. The next time she does it, she'll think about it in that way.
So how do you think we help people? As I love what you're saying, coaching isn't a big hour session because that's what stops people from managing or leading well.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing in you, Taz, is a very holistic approach
Mhm.
to this. It almost sounds like you're riding a bike. You're pressing one pedal heavily on the day job. We've got to get results and get things done. But it's also in tandem with this other pedal you're pushing, which is constant human interaction, connection, candid feedback, challenge, connection, disagree but not being disagreeable. Some people probably think of it more as like totally two separate bikes. I'm on this bike for strategy and the day job, and then, I must hop on the other bike to do some good leadership stuff. How would you help the mindsets and or behaviors to marry the two? What are the practical things?
Yeah, and look, I think the key thing is if you have them as two separate things, you'll have a brilliant strategist and you might coach someone to be more effective as a leader, person, whatever.
Yeah.
If you start merging the two, you build someone who's quite dynamic. And whether they want to go and pursue a career in strategy or technology or whatever, they'll take these things and they'll think about practical elements. The stuff that you do on this side, which is all of that human behavior type stuff, never goes away. Never. Doesn't matter what the job is. And so look, practically for me, it's about how you think about your time. As I always say to people, there aren't going to be more hours in the day. I can't get you more time. There's time and then there's how you use it. I don't think about all of my other meetings with my stakeholders being more important than my time with my team. Actually, I start with my time with my team is non-negotiable. Everything else fits around that. One-to-ones do not get cancelled on my watch. I've never cancelled a one-to-one.
But okay, let's just let that drop because that's huge.
Never.
Why? I mean, I love that. I know why not would be, but why not?
Because that is the best part of my job. It honestly is. And so they're not always easy and fluffy and fun. Sometimes they're hard conversations. In our one-to-ones, we have a section called two-way feedback. Is anything I can do differently? What can I do for you? Sometimes is it nice? Not always, both sides, but it's honest and we sit in it, even when it's uncomfortable. Yeah. My one-to-ones with my team are the best parts of my week.
So you have a one-to-one every week?
So I do a one-to-one every 2 weeks with all of my direct reports. Yeah. And on the alternate week, we do the sync sessions.
Nice. And the sync session is bringing in other people for
on the topics that we've agreed. We came up with the name collectively, but on the topics, our 90-day goals linked to our annual goals, they can bring in a bunch of topics. So I might say, I don't feel like we're making good progress on this, or can we kick this about? But because we've created an environment of trust, they bring their peers with them to co-solve. They bring people from other teams with them, and we just come together and we kick it around. Don't always need slides. I'm thinking about this way. What data have we got? That kind of stuff. Tomorrow, I've got a 2-hour one actually that we're doing on a specific topic where it's lots of different people from my team. I'm just going to sit in the work.
Oh, I really want to work with you. It sounds so fun.
It's not for everyone though, honestly. No. And it's not, because some people are like, oh, why are you in the work? Leave me alone. I'm like, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it isn't one size fits all with this stuff.
No,
so no. I won't want to partake. Okay, so here's a question. If it sounds, and it won't have been easy, but it sounds like you're in a team where it's got its kind of traditions and this is how it works, and it sounds culturally pretty healthy, actually. It sounds fun. I want to work there.
Mm.
You can probably get some people applying for jobs after this
Fun
podcast.
and hard. Fun and hard. It's a
Fun
Venn
and yeah,
diagram.
sorry, I'm saying too much of the fun stuff. Yeah, it sounds challenging and tricky too.
Yeah.
If you were going into a new workspace, totally different business, and the culture there of the team is the previous manager hasn't made time for one-to-ones because they've been too busy. There's just far too much to do. And one-to-ones have been knocked down the post loads of times. What would you do? And you've got resistance because it's not how it's been done. What would you do in that space?
But look, I haven't created this culture or inherited it. I've been in this job just over a year and we created this together. There's times where I've even offered, like, how often do you want your one-to-ones? So my PA, who never had one-to-ones before, I'm like, no, you have to have a one-to-one. We do feedback, we do development, and she likes an hour once a month. So we do that together. We sit down together for an hour. My business support manager, we do one every week because we have lots more to tick off. But we can change and mix things around. So we've created this. It didn't happen.
So you've asked, it's a really small nuance, but it's significant. You've asked people, what do they want?
I said that one-to-ones, when I came in, when I inherited the team, I brought 2 teams together. I did a one-to-one with everybody just to get to know them. I wrote them all an email saying, when we're a new boss, we're looking forward to meeting you. Do a one-to-one with all of you. Here's some things I want to cover. I want to get to know you, how long you've been in the role, your career aspirations, and about your team. Didn't talk about the work, right? Just wanted to get to know them. That way you build trust. Then we talked about what our cadence would be. So every Monday morning, 9 o'clock, without fail, unless I have a super like big meeting I can't get out of, then it'll be later in the day. 9 till 9:30, 9:45 now, because we're a bigger team, we'll do our weekly huddle. And I will do a download, and then we go around everybody. They tell me how their weekend was. They tell me their priorities for the week. Everybody can exchange notes. We know where each other is. Mm-hmm. We set up our cadence. We do our sprint planning, everything else. We did that together. If you take on a team where there is resistance, instead of just putting them in, start with getting to know each person individually.
Yeah.
Find out, where's that come from? What's happened? Why do they not trust you? And I always say things like, do you trust me? Let me explain why I'm doing this. What I'd love to use the sessions for is, what do you want to get out of them? And obviously, look, not everything's a democracy, as I say to my team. Yep. There's some things for your one-to-one. Yeah. I give you a template. 24 hours before, I want that template so I can prep. Yeah. I prep for their one-to-ones, right? They send me, what are all the things I've asked them for? How are they feeling generally? Feedback for me, team stuff. And then I also go back to them saying, here's some additional things I want to add to the list. So their list always comes first, and then I will add some stuff on. So I've got a one-to-one actually a bit later today, and it will be based on the things they want to discuss. But I've got some stuff, and we're both prepared knowing what we're going into.
Yeah, I love that, because as well, so I love helping leaders understand the personality types of people. And for the extrovert and the introvert, you've scooped up both parts, because the extrovert, by having a list ahead of time, can decide how to be more channeled and focused in their conversation, whereas the introvert has time to pre-plan what they would want to share.
Agree. Yeah. And I've got a mix of both in my team, right?
Of course. And ambiverts were another type.
Yeah.
So if I'm really interested in this one-to-one thing, because it's such a small yet significant component to leadership. And where have you experienced good one-to-ones or bad one-to-ones in your own journey? And I asked this just to nod back to you when you said it was lonely and it's been hard in your career. To what extent were one-to-ones a part of that or not?
I think I've mainly had one-to-ones all the time, but not all of them were effective. Not all of them were about me. And I think for some of them, I didn't feel like my bosses were really engaged or listening.
Right.
I felt like sometimes they had an agenda that they wanted me to help them deliver rather than it being about me and my career. And I think that's when it's felt the most lonely. But I've learned how to show up to one-to-ones now. I know how to use them better and be more effective, etc. So
on the receiving end. Yes.
Yeah, so I've learned now when I go to my one-to-one with my boss, how I prepare, what I do, how I show up, got an agenda prepared, I'll send some pre-read. We don't spend it like reviewing slides. I'll say, look, here's what I want to get out of it. There's three key important things I want to talk about. And that's the kind of stuff I teach on Office Real Talk, like how to turn up to those things really prepared.
So how do we? Teach me, how do we show up to one-to-ones?
So at least 24 hours before, I would kind of say, here's my 3 priorities that I want to discuss. One of them would be about my work-related goals, anything that I need. There might be some stuff I need to talk about with like stakeholders, wider things that are impacting me, how I'm feeling. Sometimes those 2 things mix. And the third one would be what I need help on. Like they're the 3 big priority topics. And I would always leave some space for 2-way feedback. So I always ask at the end, if you got any feedback for me, here's some things that I could like appreciate if you did differently, that kind of stuff. It's just that I've created some templates, which I've shared on Office Real Talk. One of the things I created, because this is tricky, is I created what I call the career blueprint planner. And it's got like how you plan your week, how you show up to one-to-ones, an imposter syndrome diary, stakeholder management, that kind of stuff. The real things that no one teaches you that I've managed to put into one place and channel up as templates.
Oh, wow. So how do we schedule our time? What's your take on that?
So for me, I plan my week starting with my non-negotiables, the gym, time with my husband, making sure I get some meal prep in, making sure I've got time to FaceTime the family type stuff. Non-negotiables. Then where am I logistically? Office, home, traveling. How do I fit those things in? Can I go to the gym if I'm doing a really long meeting in Manchester for the day? No. So I start putting that together, and then I do my kind of absolutely must wins for the week on work. And then I might have some must wins at home, like life admin, call the solicitor, get to something like do post office returns, blah, blah, blah. But just schedule that in, and I make a plan for the week. And I'm really intentional about how I'm showing up and where I'm showing up, because my motto is run the week or the week runs you.
It's you. Yeah. I wonder though, again, being devil's advocate, have you ever done a personality assessment?
Yes, so many.
I bet you've done hundreds, right? So I wonder if, have you done Myers-Briggs?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. I wonder if you're a J.
I am a J.
So if you're not sure what it is, it's your preferred lifestyle, how you put everything together. And you're either something called a judger or a perceiver. And judges are naturally, you decide if this is fair, but generally if you preferred lifestyle is to be a judger, you like to have a kind of staircase, an approach of here's the start project, here's the end of the project, and I systematically, incrementally work my way towards the deadline. If you're a perceiver, which I am, you work more in iterative processes. And so being really disciplined and intentional with a weekly calendar in the way that you are wouldn't probably be the right
100%.
the right fit. So how do you manage people? How do you have empathy and encourage people who have a different relationship to planning than you?
And I can sometimes show up as a perceiver, mainly because I've got ADHD. So I need structure and routine, but I can't have too much because I want to have fun and I want to be impulsive.
A lot of agility in it.
Yeah. So some weeks I will have a lot of structure because I know it needs it and I have to discipline myself. But other weeks I'm like, okay, well, I want to go to the gym 3 times a week. I know I definitely can't do Tuesday because I'm in Leeds.
Yeah.
I'll either go Monday if I feel like it, or I'll go on Saturday if I feel like it. And if I don't make it, nobody died. And there's a little bit of that. But I do know I don't want to get to the end of the week and go, I didn't do anything for me. I've made work my life.
Yeah.
And that's the whole discipline. You don't have to be rigid. There's a process that I think works, which is more practical around there's certain things I want to do and I just can't do because logistically it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But look, you can get to the end of the week and feel really, really sometimes destroyed by work because you're like, all I've done is work and not look after me.
Yeah.
And you can't pour from an empty cup. Like for me, I'm not doing that anymore. Like my things are so important and they come first and then work.
So when you feel like you have had a week where you've poured from an empty cup, what do you do to kind of get back?
Have it quite often, right? Because like all the best laid plans and then life happens, I make sure I try and turn my alarm off now on a weekend because I'm a 5:30 a.m. kind of girl.
Yep.
And on the weekend I have it on at 7 and I'm like,
wow.
I just started
I
know. It's my alone time in the morning because my husband sleeps into like 10. So I like that alone time.
Yeah.
But I started turning it off and just waking up when I feel like it. I'll sit and I have breakfast every morning. That's a non-negotiable. But I'll sit and just enjoy my breakfast. I'll do a longer exercise class. I might even go to the gym to do a class. That's what I like. And I will try and shut off from my phone. So I will try and avoid texting people back, not feeling guilty for that. That kind of stuff. I just really need to immerse in myself. And then I just like to get out of the house. I like to feel like I've been somewhere.
Yeah.
And the other thing I have to do for my brain is just clear my space. So it's just sometimes, I might have like taken out 6 pairs of trainers that week, or my gym kit, just do a few things that just feels like I'm putting stuff away, clearing the week out. And I like to rest, and rest looks different for all of us. Sometimes I just go and sit in the garden for 10 minutes. Sometimes it's watching reruns of anything on TV. It's whatever that means, but it does mean switching off. And I'm very, very good at, I don't work once I've switched off on a Friday. That I'm done.
It's interesting hearing you speak, and it could almost, and I know this won't be true because you're extremely real and that's how you've got to where you are and you're on a journey, but it could come across as you've got everything buttoned up. And that's why I want to ask the next question. Wherever you feel comfortable to share, where do you sit with questions of uncertainty, of difficulty, of things that are unresolved in your career and in your space as a female leader right here, right now, even though you've got to this point of self appreciation?
I don't have things figured out.
No.
I definitely don't feel like that. I doubt myself. I question my own performance. I question how good I am sometimes. I suffer with self-doubt.
What triggers that? What sort of things trigger self-doubt for you?
It mainly shows up when I'm in a room full of people where I think everybody knows more than me about a topic, and I feel like I'm not that prepared. That's a really big trigger for me. It also shows up when there's everybody else is more experienced, and I think they think that this is a topic I'm not good at. It also shows up sometimes when I think somebody doesn't think I'm good, or they don't rate me, and I don't often have evidence of that. It's just a feeling I get from them. And it might just be like they're really direct, or they're just not a very friendly person. It could be that kind of stuff. That still happens. And in terms of my career, look, I don't have a 5-year plan. I don't have a 10-year plan. I don't have a plan.
Do you know?
I like what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. When I stop loving it, I'll go and do something else, and let's see what the world has then. All I know is, and I learned this at a very young age through life doesn't work out how you plan.
No,
and so I don't plan that far ahead. I just figure it out. I just know I need something that feeds my soul and makes me happy.
I think that's so refreshing, because there's so much rhetoric now about planning and having an intentional life. We all know where we're going, blah, 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 and definitely that's a pedal. It's a beautiful pedal, so we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But there isn't enough talk on just. I've actually learned that that's a kind of an insurance policy life, and I don't want to live life for insurance policies. I'm just in the moment. Because what did you learn as you just nodded to something in your earlier years? What did you learn that has taught you to not plan ahead and that life doesn't work out?
I think you just think that life will work out a certain way because that's what we're taught from movies. You think you're just going to have your parents till you're old. You think you're going to meet the love of your life at uni, or like be swept off your feet. You think people stay together forever. You think by 25 you'll have bought the house of your dreams and had 3 kids. All of these things that I believed were true in society when I was growing up. I got married at 35 years old. I didn't meet the love of my life when I was 25. In fact, I meant the opposite of what was the love of my life a number of times. I was meant to have a journalism career and go and do big things there. Here I am. I don't have both my parents. I didn't think that would happen. I haven't grown up around marriages that have survived, loads and loads of things. Life just doesn't work out to plan. People get sick, people get into financial trouble. So much stuff happens, and you just realize that what's really important is that core of who you are. And so if you go back to that coaching bit and those one-to-ones and stuff like that, you can talk about the work. But when you learn why people show up the way they do, what their insecurities are, what makes them tick, why they do or don't take up space, why they're scared of putting themselves forward, all of those things help you unpick a person and really be able to, as a leader, hopefully impact their life. And look, all I'll say leave everything better than you found it. That's what I think. Leave the
I
job
love
better than
that.
I found it, but leave people better than you found them. That doesn't mean they'll always like you or be grateful then, but hopefully one day they'll go, I learned something. And I am not by any way assuming everybody who I have met or worked with will go, I'm better off. There'll be some people who are like,
No.
oh my God, she was the worst thing that happened to me. But
Yeah,
the aim is there, right?
I was going to say if the intention is there and you are seeking to find behaviors and grow in doing that, then you're going to be doing a lot more good than you would have done otherwise.
100%. And I've had
And
to grow as well and change my style as I've grown up as well. So,
I
I'm hoping I'm better than I was.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Because you don't get to have conversations like this in the leadership spaces you're in, passionate about it, unless you've gone through the shadow side, the darker side,
100%.
the ego side. My mum always says, when I had young kids, she said, I said, what's the top tip with having young children, mum? The top tip. And it was so funny. She just said, always leave a room better than you found it,
I
because
love
then
that.
you won't be overwhelmed by it later, which is a really benign thing, but it kind of nods to that. And
It's the same.
always stuck by that. Whenever I've left a room with young kids, they get trashed. And I've said to the kids, we're leaving it better than we found it. And that way it's always given me a semblance of some sort of controllable joy to come back into it and go, but it's the same with humans, right? With relationships.
100%. 100%.
Taz, just mindful of the time. And you've talked about so many things. Your passion for people and leadership it just comes through the screen. It's exciting me so much. Thank you. And we haven't even talked really about strategy and your space in finance. But I just love how they're tandem together. If you were going to give a sort of 1 minute call to action for people listening in their spaces of leadership in a really busy, heavily regulated space, where there's a lot of pressure, what would you want to share with them today?
Trying to do everything and thinking you can do everything well and not having a system or a framework is a quick route to failure.
Wow.
Trying to get through that list and be a perfectionist about holding on to it until it's brilliant is self-sabotage. Create frameworks and systems that work. I say that to everybody I meet, systems and frameworks. How do I start my week? How do I end my week? Whether you're a J or a P, and it doesn't have to be the same, but how do I get really, really clear on what matters? How do I do more of what matters? How do I spend my time where there's value? Create systems and frameworks around how you think, how you work, because ultimately there will be things that you coach yourself on. And they can be 3 questions you ask yourself in the morning. They can be a meeting you do every Monday like me. It can just be the way you structure your one-to-ones. It could be a check-in with yourself on a Friday when you brain dump. Systems and frameworks make it feel less overwhelming, and it makes it feel less like you're just working through someone else's list. You take up space and you take control of how you do your job. Because at the end of the day, we are all one of one. We can all have the same things to do list. The way we approach it, how we show up, and how we give ourselves a space to be ourselves is what makes us all uniquely different. I don't want everybody who's the same. I want different people. And so I would just say to everybody, stop working on someone else's list. Your boss might have written your goals, hopefully with you, but make sure that how you navigate that brings what you uniquely do to the table. That's what I'd say.
Oh, wow. Boom. I love that. That needs to be quoted in many different places.
Yeah, my quote book.
Yeah, exactly. Taz, it's been such a privilege having you on the show. We will put your LinkedIn profile and also your Instagram because I looked it up last week and it's so great, just pithy, quick, insightful stuff. But thanks so much. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
Great. How fantastic to consider frameworks and systems. I wonder to what extent you know what your frameworks and systems are. And if you don't know, or if you're also finding there are areas in your career growth where you're feeling a bit lonely, a bit exposed one way or another, then I really want to suggest you get an executive coach. Please get in touch if I can help in that regard. In my book, I refer to coaching with an external person as a bit like being in an aeration chamber. It's a place where we can think more thoroughly. we have a window of time with a thinking partner to consider our approach, to consider our frameworks and systems of how we lead, how we approach things, how we integrate our life, so that we can find a cadence that means we can perform really well with the relationships being in the right spaces that they need to be in order to have an effective business. So do reach out if you would like to consider coaching as the next step for finding your extra.